This week, we'll start out, as always, with a good dose of coffee talk. Then government payments and crop prices and their effect on the farm. Silver King tractors and Hercules engines. An old friend becomes a nationwide columnist. A little invention talk. And finally, a nice tribute to a farmer gone too soon. This is the Rural Reflections Podcast. Welcome to the Rural Reflections Podcast. It's Dave Nelson in Carrington, North Dakota. Grant Nelson here at the studios of Thief River Falls Radio. Dave, last weekend when we talked, we were huddling together apart to stay warm. This weekend, slightly different.
Boy, yeah, it feels a little too warm in the house today. It's just crazy how much difference. And the sun, you just feel the heat and the sun coming on now and stuff. So it's really nice to have a warm up. And I saw that yesterday was the first day we'd gotten above freezing. And what the heck was it? It was over a month anyway, which I didn't realize, it had been below freezing. But I guess yesterday was the first day over freezing. Over a month. So.
We had 10 or 11 days where we didn't crack 0 degrees, and that's really a radical departure from what we'd been dealing with before. Okay, everybody who's listening to us at home, this is the coffee talk portion of the Rural Reflections Podcast. We're getting into it right now. And Dave, I saw grass showing today, and of course, now that was in an area that had been bladed, so let's be fair, but there's not a lot of snow around here. Can you tell us a little bit about snow conditions out in the Carrington, North Dakota area?
Well, there's a lot of it that's out in the open now that's exposed to the sun is pretty much gone. North side of buildings and stuff, there's 4 inches of snow, 4 or 5 inches of snow in a lot of places. But what's remaining that you see is some real dirty black snow drifts and a lot of grass out there showing. Yesterday there was there must have been at least 1,000 head of cattle out on pasture, or not on pasture, but in corn stalks, right along the highway when I went to Jamestown. So there's a lot of difference between this and a typical winter, that's for sure.
There's nothing like cattle out on corn stalks. I mean, I always think to myself, seems hopeful to me in the springtime. In the fall, I like it too, because you put a little bit of hay out there with them. They eat whatever gets thrown over. They have the corn stalks. They munch them down, and they process them for you. It works out pretty good. Now, when I see warm weather coming on, well, I guess it really doesn't matter. I always see projects wherever I go. And, of course, a few weeks ago, we talked about a tractor that I was working in my mind. Of course, my mind's always working on this kind of stuff, but I have an old gas generator, and I was thinking, what can I use it for? Because I don't use it around the house anymore. And I thought, gosh, wouldn't that be great to put that on a little tractor and build something? And, of course, I've been going through different reiterations of this over and over again. Now, my latest one is I was thinking about using one of those like a 1/4 or probably a 1/4 scale of a Jacob Best steamer or a Pliny Holt, that sort of steamer. And I was thinking about the one that had the little railroad tracks under it. It looked almost like a small locomotive, and most of those steamers had big steel wheels on them. This one had little tracks on it. So that plays into my need to have a tractor. Then I could use up this little gas generator. I mean, there's a lot of different possibilities here, Dave, that I could waste my time and my money on. You know what I'm saying?
Well, maybe you should find yourself an old copy of Popular Science or something, and usually in the back of there they had this little bulldozer you could build, and like a one-man bulldozer. Oh, I always wanted to have one of those. I just thought that would be so cool to have a little thing like that, but I grew out of that.
That's the Struck Corporation out of Wisconsin, and I think I'm one of their top fans on their Facebook page. I've been to that. They still make those, and they make
really?
They make different variations of them, and they make a larger variation. But of course, they come with a price that I would say is probably disproportionate to their usability. Now, I've found a couple of used ones, but they're always pretty well supported as far as resale price. So I tell you, I've thought about that myself. I think they're fantastic little things. Now, talking about tractors too, I noticed something that in the last couple of weeks, and these little things pop up in my mind every once in a while. And on all the national farm shows, it seems like when they show a featured tractor, they've been showing the Silver King tractor. And I think to myself, well, what's going on with the Silver King tractor? And I think maybe just its rarity, because they didn't start until the early 1900s, like 1919. Three brothers got together, John Percy and Halsey Root, along with Charles Heath, and they started building locomotives and reel-type grass mowers. And later on, after the stock market crash, they put together a tractor, and they didn't last too much terribly longer after that. And I know, Dave, the one thing we talked about was there were a lot of tractor brands way back when, but they kind of narrowed down after a while.
Yeah, it's funny how, machinery and stuff, and tractors especially, but these companies, they just kind of all work their way down into a funnel to make up a major brand or two, out of them. I know we used to have a flow chart when the mergers began of the current majors, and it was just crazy, all the brands that went into becoming one of the major ones, and it's still going on. I mean, Case IH has bought out a K-Line for some tillage stuff here this year, and they bought out ATI for the tracks that they have there. So it continues on, but it's really amazing if you look back in time to how many different startups there were for farm implements and the tractors that pulled them.
When you told me that Case IH bought out K-Line and ATI, that's a pretty big purchases they made there. On that Silver King tractor, we talked about the Hercules engine before we got on the air here. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll start out with the Hercules engine. We got a couple other things, and then I suppose we'll have to turn everybody loose for the week. But let's take a break. Let's do my online column, rather, and we'll be back right here on the Rural Reflections podcast. I'm Grant Nelson, and this is Rural Reflections. Now, I've had some time to gain perspective in the last year. The COVID-19 pandemic has not changed my personal life that much, as I don't attend many social functions. The quarantine, however, has quieted a lot of the functions that might have held my focus at one time. It's a shame how it happened. However, I've tried to use the time to the greatest benefit possible, which has been introspection. I will not share all I've discovered. However, I will talk about a few things. If you hear nothing else, please hear this. I continue to believe the best thing in this world is the few personal relationships in which you regularly invest your time, your effort, and your emotion. These are the people who help you, the people who you help, and the ones you think of when you're working. I suspect I'm not the only person who has reaffirmed this personal truth. I've noticed several individuals who've dropped their social media accounts. I wonder if they've come to the realization that the people they live with and share television shows at night are their real social network. Now, I retired from my career at the sheriff's office after a little under 31 years of combined service. That would be in the fall of 2019. A lot of my personality and self-worth comes from the work I do. So I retired for a weekend and became a news director. I went through some old theme papers I'd written, found an assignment from high school in which I stated my goal was to be the news director at a radio station, so I guess I can check that off. The transition from a job that formed your personality for better than 3 decades to a whole new career, and then get hit with the pandemic, meant all 3 experiences condensed into a few short months. Every day and every experience is a gift and a learning experience, so I really had to pay attention to keep up. I'm now busier in retirement than I was ever. The difference is the work I do is something I chose based on my talents and passions instead of necessity. I think it's a worthy goal, That whole find a job you love and you'll never work a day in your life, however, does not ring true to me. There's still elements of interpersonal relationships, decisions with which you don't always agree, a need to produce, and an alarm clock, which are all earmarks of work. I've realized that even though I'm quite busy, particularly in the summer, I do nothing which I do not enjoy. That probably is not the greatest revelation on earth during the last year. However, it is a joyful one. The whole pandemic culture will soon be something we reminisce about. As fast as life moves on, we may even forget some elements over time. Some of it will be good to forget. I hope to choose what I remember. I'm Grant Nelson. This is Rural Reflections. Welcome back to the Rural Reflections podcast. Dave Nelson's in Carrington, North Dakota. Grant Nelson here at the studios of Thief River Falls Radio. Dave, we were talking about the Silver King tractor, and the Hercules engine was something that powered it back in the 1920s. That Hercules engine, before we got on, we spoke a little bit about that. Tell me a little bit about that Hercules engine, would you?
Well, what I know of Hercules was from some of the old John Deere combines. They were all flathead engines. And Hercules, like a lot of other engine companies, powered all kinds of things, not just tractors and combines and that kind of thing. And in the early days of tractor building, of course, those places hadn't made their own engines, a lot of these tractor companies. So they had to borrow horsepower from somebody whose expertise was building it. And Hercules was one, and Continental and Buda, and there's a lot of engine companies that were out there, but that's my knowledge of the Hercules was with the John Deere combines.
And those Hercules, they morphed into the Continental, correct?
Yeah, I don't know what they became, but Continental was another engine supplier.
Okay.
And now all of those are gone, but both Hercules and Continental continued on for a long time, powering forklifts and things like that, long after other companies had valve and head engines.
Reminds me a little bit about the snowmobile culture. A lot of the snowmobile manufacturers use the very same engine, the JLOs and CCWs and a lot of different Kohler, that sort of thing. And seems like everybody, when they start out, that engine's something that they probably develop their own engine towards the end. When you are not towards the end, but further on in their development, because it takes a lot to make that. And it seems like you say, they borrow the horsepower. Now, the USDA came out with a report this week, and if you're a farmer listening to this, don't grab whatever you're listening to and throw it out, because there's two parts to it, okay? USDA's first look at farm income predicts that without continued as-needed government payments, which reached a record last year, net farm income will drop this year. In its February 2021 farm income forecast released last Friday, USDA said it expects net farm income to drop 8%. With fewer government payments expected, USDA is forecasting net farm income to fall $9.8 billion in 2021. Now, while farm net income is forecast to drop this year, USDA points out its forecast would still be 21% above the 2019 average net farm income of $92.1 million. Now, of course, Dave, we get used to making government payments a part of the bottom line, but this year coming up, it seems like we've got some crop prices actually to support a little bit more than we've had in the past, particularly corn and soybeans.
Yeah, there's a lot of optimism, I think, as far as the prices. And the other thing that a lot of people are optimistic about is the fact that there is going to be demand. There's not a big glut of corn and soybeans in the world, and we're going to have to hope to grow a crop.
Yeah.
And I think you talk to any farmer, and they'd much rather grow a crop and sell it for a decent price than get their money anywhere else.
Absolutely. You hear it over and over again. Farmers always say, we just want a market. We don't need all the other stuff. We just want to market. Now, there's one other thing I've got to call up because, of course, this guy's an old dairy farmer himself. Grew up on a dairy farm. Goodrich, 5th grade teacher Eric Mickelson's now a regular columnist for Green Magazine. So another fellow journalist, radio journalist, whatever you want to call him, Dave. He grew up near Oakley, and he likes John Deere tractors. We'll forgive him for that. No, I'm just kidding around. You can like whatever you like. But he's going to be writing for Green Magazine now. That's all about John Deere tractors on a monthly basis. I knew him as Mick because we went to college together and played some football together. And he reported on football and volleyball for KKDQ for about 9 years too, which is part of the base station for this broadcast of the Rural Reflections podcast. So, Mick, hey, we'd like to tell you thank you for all your hard work of keeping rural agriculture out there and keeping it in the presence of everybody and letting everybody know a little bit about the history of John Deere tractors and just our history in general, too. Now, friends are a big thing, Dave. You've got a good one who did a lot of good farming out in the Carrington area and kind of reminds me a little bit when you talk about him, when we talked about him recently, reminds us a little bit about our brother Steve. But could you tell us a little bit about Jim Newmiller?
Well, yeah, he was just a real true cattleman. He was just a fellow that loved the cattle and working with cattle. He liked it so much that Thursdays he would go to the sale barn and work in the sale barn in the back, sorting and moving cattle. And he's one of the few people I know of that could calve out 375 to 400 cows a year by himself. And just a hardworking man of the land, you know. I mean, he just spent his time there, loved the cattle, and did a great job of it. And he's gone now, and we're certainly going to miss that because there are less and less people all the time who are hands-on working people, you know. A lot of them are more machine-oriented and that, but he just stayed at the farm and farmed.
You gotta like that. I those are the kind of the best people. You don't always see them much because they're always on the farm working, but when people talk about farmers, that's what they're talking about. What a nice salute to him. It's Jim Newmiller out of Carrington. And thank you so much for that, Dave. And Dave, you got anything else before we wrap up today?
I guess not. I'm going to enjoy my afternoon in the sun here, and I think I'm going to take the remaining Christmas lights down.
Well, be careful, okay? Just be careful when you're doing that.
Yeah, I'll do it at ground level.
Okay, that sounds good. Thanks very much, Dave. There he is, my brother Dave Nelson out of Carrington, North Dakota. I'm Grant Nelson here at the studios of Thief River Falls Radio. And this has been the Rural Reflections Podcast.